Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm from JennyCarddesigns. Thanks so much for joining me today. My YouTube channel contains content that is intended to share paper crafting tutorials and inspiration with all of you. I hope that you enjoy. Okay, so for today's project, I decided to pull out my Chop It Up template book. This book is full of templates designed to spark your creativity and basically aimed towards cutting apart your 12 by 12 paper packs. So I was looking for some tags and I flipped through here and I thought for sure that I had a template for the size that I wanted, and I didn't. So I'm going to show you how I make my templates. This is what I do. I grab a piece of paper and I sort of think and sketch out what I want to do. So I'm going to quickly sketch out a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock. Now I'm no artist. This is why I use stamps and inks, because I can't draw right. My penmanship is terrible, you know, all those types of things. So now I'm going to divide this into two sections, and the first cut will be 4, the second cut will be 8. And then I'm going to divide this into 4 more sections, and this will be a cut at 3, a cut at 6, and a cut at 9 inches. Okay, so basically this is our template, and it's going to give us 12 cards that measure 3 by 4 inches. So this is going to be perfect to make a beautiful set of gift tags. So with the magic of video, we have all of these beautiful tags. These are so super cute, super easy to make. These are made with simple, basic supplies that anybody can do. All right, so now that I've shown you my template, let's make some of these tags. Okay, so of course, if you know me, you know that I have an obsession with these 12 by 12 paper packs from Michaels. This is another new one I just picked up. It's beautiful. I can't help myself. I keep buying them, and I keep saying, well, you know, the reason why I can buy them is because I can make these great videos for you guys. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, so we're going to grab a couple of pieces of this cardstock, and we're going to follow that template that I showed you earlier. So we're going to start cutting it up. So paying attention to the orientation that you want your tag to be, we'll make our first cut at 8 inches and our second cut at 4 inches. And then I'm going to take all these pieces and stack them up together, and I'm going to cut across the 12-inch side. First cut at 9 inches, second cut at 6 inches, and third cut at 3 inches. And this is going to give us 12 tags that measure 3 by 5 inches. So they just look like rectangular pieces of cardstock at this point in time. I'm going to show you my favorite trick for creating multiple tags with the same edge, if you know what I mean. And we don't need any special tools, just a pair of scissors. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 pieces of cardstock, put them on top of each other. I'm going to trim away the angle that I'd like to see for my tags. And I'll take these 2 pieces and flip them around, and basically you'll see we'll create a guide where we can trim off the other corner. Okay, and then flip it over and see that little guide and trim off the corner. Now we have even symmetrical tags, and we didn't need anything other than scissors. And no special little holding tiny pieces of cardstock and trimming the edges. Super easy. And now we've got a guide to cut up the rest of the cardstock. So they're all going to be the same. So we're just going to stack one of those pieces on top of some other ones and use it as a guide to cut those corners. And I'll do that for all of these tags. And then we get the exact same angle on all sides of these beautiful tags. So gorgeous. All right, and I'm going to take a stack of them, and I'm going to grab my Crop-A-Dile and punch a hole. Now my Crop-A-Dile is able to punch through an entire 12 pieces of this cardstock, so that's wonderful. A little squeeze, and we got a hole in the center for our string. Next up, I'm going to grab this stamp set by Simon Says Stamp. This was from a card kit last year, and I never got to use it because by the time I got my card kit in the mail, it was already winter, fall was over, and I thought, well, maybe next year. So here it is next year, and I'm going to use this beautiful sentiment that says happy fall, y'all. And it fits perfectly on the back of my tag. So I'm just going to condition that stamp, and I'm going to rub all of the manufacturing residue off of it, pop my tag into the corner of my mini Misty, use my magnet to pin it down, and I'm going to stamp this with Jen-Velope's Warm Cocoa ink. Now I'm going to pull up my sleeves because we're about to get serious here. Okay, I'm going to stamp 36 tags with this little stamp so that they're all matching and super cute. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my little peacock here. This is a glass paperweight. I picked this up off of Amazon. I put a furniture protector pad on the bottom of it, and it's so cute, and it was only 12 bucks, and I thought it's me, you know, it's just extra, and that's just who I am. So I just use that little tool to press on the door of my Misty to get a smooth, even transfer of ink onto my tags, and then I'm going to flip through this a whole bunch of times until we get a massive stack of tags. So I'm happy with those results, and I decided I wanted to show you something that I'd never made before, but I wanted to make it for these tags. I thought I would make this little, almost like a deck of cards box for my set of tags. Super cute. We're going to walk through this. I've never made this before. This is just something I figured out on the fly. You can see my little notes on the side of the screen here. And I'm going to leave all the measurements at the bottom of the screen so that you can write them down, follow along, you know, and make this little deck of cards box as well with me. Okay, so paper size is going to be 5 1/4 inches by 12 inches. Okay, across the 5 1/4 side, we're going to do some scoring. The measurements are listed at the bottom of the screen. First, 1/2 inch, then 1 inch, 4 1/4 inches, and 4 3/4 inches. And I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to repeat the score marks on the back side. Because this type of cardstock is known for cracking, I like to score on both sides, and I find that it helps prevent that. This type of cardstock that has a white core, when you score on both sides a couple of times, then you're going to get a better result. So I go ahead and do that. And then across the 12-inch side, we're going to turn it, and we're going to do some score marks. Now, the score marks that I have listed at the bottom of the screen are correct. I made an error while recording this on screen, and I couldn't really go back and remove an extra score mark that I did. So follow along with the marks listed at the bottom of the screen. 1/4 inch, 4 inch, 4 1/2 inches, 9, and 9 1/2 inches. Now I did something weird. I don't know why I scored at 8 inches. I don't know where I got that measurement from, and I realized as soon as I went to lay my tags on it, I thought this is wrong. So I fixed those measurements. I've given you the right ones at the bottom of the screen. So let's go ahead and crease the score marks. Okay, so the very bottom of the box has this little tiny 1/2 inch score mark. So that's going to be the bottom that folds up, and the top is going to be our little closure flap. Okay, if that makes sense. So my first cut, I'm going to cut along those little tiny score marks. This is going to basically create the box. That little 1/2 inch strip is going to be the base of the box. Okay, so I'm just going to trim that into the second score mark. And later on I'm going to glue this down, but for now I haven't quite figured it out. So I'm going to crease the score marks on the side here, and I'm going to create the little pocket that our tags are going to slide into. Okay, so I'll fold in those score marks, and this is what you'll have so far. Okay, so if this video looks like I'm not sure of what I'm doing, that's because that's real life. I tried to edit as much as I could so that it looked more clear and concise for you, but I had no idea what I was doing. I was just winging it and trying to figure out, you know, how this was all going to come together. For me, I'm a very visual person. I have to sort of look at it and see how it works to understand it. And then I like to, you know, figure out all of the hard stuff so it makes it easier for the next person. It's like creating a clock, essentially. You know, everybody in the whole world couldn't tell the time if the person who originally created the clock never created the clock. That's very philosophical and quite deep, and I'm about as deep as a jar of peanut butter. I mean, okay, let's get back to this project. So I just trimmed away that little excess piece of cardstock on the 1/2 inch side, glued that down so we have a nice clean look, and now I'm going to work on the other side of the box. I'm going to make some cuts into the second score line. This is going to be sort of our little closing flap, our little lid, and that gives me room to be able to crease these folds and see how things are going to start coming together and, you know, sort of create our little 3-dimensional box. So I'm going to crease in the little sides here, and I decided that this is where I'm going to glue those little flaps down because they're just going to be in the way, and once they're glued down, then it'll help create a little bit of sturdiness at the bottom of the box, and this way our tags don't like get stuck on them or anything like that. So now I'm going to add some liquid adhesive to seal up the bottom of this box. So I'm going to make sure that these flaps that fold up are going to wrap around to the back of the box, because then we won't see it and it'll be, you know, sort of out of the way. So I'm going to add some adhesive to seal this front flap to those little score marks. Okay, and I'll just hold that down to make sure that we get nice good adhesion. And then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to seal down those little flaps as well. Now, if you wanted to, you could cut off the extra 1/2 inch score mark there that wraps around the back of the box, but I kept it. I thought that this would be good for strength and durability, but if you want a more cleaner looking box, just cut that off and then you'll just have it glued to the side and you won't see that sort of transition into the back of the paper. Okay, so I'm going to do that to both sides and adhere this down, pressing, making sure that I get good contact with my paper and that my box is nice and sturdy. It's not going to hold rocks or anything, you know, it's just going to hold cardstock, but it's going to be, you know, decent enough. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue down the little flaps here, get those out of the way, and then it also creates strength around the lid. Okay, you can see this starting to come together now. Okay, now for the closing little flap on the top of the box, I'm just going to crease those score marks and fold them in. I'm going to glue them down. You can cut these away. You could do whatever you want with them. They're not necessary. I just kept them for, again, for strength of the lid so that it had a little bit of weight to it and it wasn't floppy, you know. So I'm going to glue that down, and we're in the home stretch here. I'm just going to trim off any excess sort of sticking out, and that, you know, because I don't make perfect cuts every time. I get a little bit, you know, wonky. Okay, I'm going to take a 1/2 inch circle punch and I'm going to punch a little, sort of like a little notch in here. It makes it look finished and clean and sort of cool. I like the way those look. I'm obsessed with those little finger notches. Okay, I'm going to grab some scrap pieces of cardstock and I'm going to cover this up. If you were using double-sided pattern paper, you wouldn't have to worry about this because you'd have a nice clean look all the way around. But because my cardstock is single-sided with a white core, I wanted to cover that up. I didn't want to see any white. So I'm just, you know, cutting up some pieces, random little strips and scraps. I'm not going to give you any measurements for this because I'm sure you could, you know, cut up some scraps and figure it out just to cover up that white space. Okay, so I'm going to do that for the entire box, for a little piece to cover what you can see. I didn't make it all the way down to the bottom. I just covered up what you could see there in the little opening. I'm going to use my bone folder to press everything down and inside. Okay, and this is pretty much it. We're pretty much done. So this is our box. Now you could add a little magnet if you wanted, a little piece of Velcro, some ribbon, anything you want to close it up. And the last thing I want to do is round the corners, just to give that clean finished look on this little card box. And that's it. Super cute, and it holds all of our tags. Everything fits so nicely. This has 36 tags inside of it, and I mean, there's a little bit more room, you know, a little bit of room to grow, and it fits perfectly. I'm super happy with the result. So cute, and that's it. Our project is complete. So I had so much fun creating another sort of chop it up video for you. These are my favorite. I love buying these paper packs. I love cutting them up and coming up with new ideas and cutesy little things to create out of my paper packs. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it here with me today. I appreciate the support as always. When you like, comment, click, subscribe, do all of the things, you know, it really helps me to buy more paper packs. from Michaels, and it keeps fueling my fire. And I really, truly love that. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being a supporter of my YouTube channel and my crafty addictions. Have yourself a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!